Chosen one. You were never an accident. Before your parents ever spoke your name, before the world ever saw your face, God already knew you. Your life did not begin in a hospital room, it began in the mind of God. Long before people formed opinions about you, heaven formed a purpose for you. God does not create randomly. Everything about you was designed with intention, precision, and love. Your personality, your emotional depth, your sensitivity, your compassion, and even your struggles were woven together for a reason. Heaven was intentional about sending you here, knowing the time, the place, and the season in which your life would be needed. This is why you have always felt different. From an early age, there was a sense that you did not quite fit into the patterns everyone else seemed comfortable following. While others blended in, your soul resisted conformity. You questioned systems that never questioned themselves. You felt discomfort with shallow conversations and empty routines. You sensed meaning where others saw nothing more than habit. This was not rebellion, it was awareness. You weren't meant to be celebrated by crowds early. You were meant to be prepared in silence first. God marked you before you were born, and because of that mark, your journey has never been normal. The Bible confirms this truth clearly. God told Jeremiah, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart." These words are not limited to one prophet. They reveal the nature of how God works with those he chooses. Your calling existed before your circumstances. Your assignment existed before your pain. Your destiny existed before your mistakes. Nothing in your life surprised God. He knew the family you would be born into, the environment you would grow up in, and the battles you would face. And he still chose you. He knew every weakness you would struggle with and every strength you would develop, yet his decision never changed. Chosen ones often experience resistance early in life, not because they are failing, but because they are being shaped. Pressure reveals purpose. Resistance reveals value. If the enemy tried to stop you early, it is because heaven announced you before you arrived. There are battles that only assigned lives attract. Your early struggles were not signs of weakness. They were evidence of significance. God was building endurance in you when others were still learning comfort. He was sharpening your discernment while others were distracted. He was forming spiritual strength in you long before you understood why you needed it. You may have felt misunderstood, overlooked, or rejected in places where you expected belonging. People may not have known how to place you because you were never meant to fit into small categories. You carried depth in environments that celebrated surface-level living. You carried vision in places content with limitation. This often made others uncomfortable, not because you were wrong, but because your presence revealed what they were avoiding. The isolation you experienced was not abandonment, it was preparation. God often hides what is precious before revealing it to the world, protecting it from being damaged before its time. There were seasons when loneliness pressed heavily on your heart, when you wondered why connection felt so difficult. You may have questioned whether something was wrong with you, why relationships felt temporary, or why you always seemed to be outgrowing people and places. But God was quietly teaching you how to stand alone before you could stand for others. He was teaching you how to hear his voice without distraction, how to find identity in him rather than in approval, and how to trust his presence when human support was absent. You learned lessons through pain that many never learn at all. You learned compassion because you knew what it felt like to hurt. You learned patience because you were forced to wait. You learned faith because there were moments when faith was all you had. These lessons were not accidents. They were tools. God was equipping you for a calling that requires depth, maturity, and humility. What He is preparing you for cannot be sustained by shallow roots. There were times when you felt delayed, when it seemed like others were moving ahead while you remained stuck. But delay is not denial when God is involved. Often, delay is protection. God was keeping you from environments you were not yet ready to enter, from responsibilities you were not yet prepared to carry, and from influence that could have damaged you if received too early. He was working on who you were becoming, not just where you were going. Even when you made mistakes, even when you doubted yourself, even when you questioned God, the mark on your life never left. God does not revoke what He ordains. He corrects, He disciplines, and He redirects, but He does not abandon His chosen. Every detour you took was still within the reach of His grace. Every failure became part of your testimony. Every setback became a setup for deeper understanding. Now, as you look back, you can begin to see patterns forming. What once felt random now reveals purpose. What once felt unfair now shows preparation. God was weaving something together, thread by thread, season by season. You were being shaped for impact, not applause. You were being prepared for purpose, not popularity. The fact that you are still here, still seeking, still believing, is proof that God's hand has been on you all along. The mark He placed on you before birth is still active, still powerful, still guiding your steps. You are not forgotten. You are not behind. You are not disqualified. You are exactly where God can continue to shape you for what He planned long before the world ever saw you. That mark on your life attracts both favor and opposition. It explains why some people were drawn to you instantly, while others resisted you without cause. It explains why jealousy followed you even when you were not competing, and why rejection appeared in places where you expected acceptance. The mark of God doesn't make life easier, it makes it meaningful. It sets you apart, refines you, and positions you for impact. When God places His hand on someone, it creates a spiritual distinction that can be felt even when it cannot be explained. Some will recognize it as light and be drawn closer. Others will feel exposed by it and respond with resistance. There were moments when you almost lost hope, moments when the weight of life felt heavier than your strength. You questioned your worth and wondered if the struggle would ever end. You asked God why the road seemed harder for you than for others who appeared less committed or less faithful. But what you couldn't see at the time was that every trial was refining your character for what is coming. God never wastes pain in the life of the chosen. Every tear carried a lesson. Every disappointment carried insight. Every delay was shaping patience, humility, and endurance deep within you. Even when you walked away in confusion or exhaustion, God never withdrew the mark. Even when you doubted your calling or questioned your faith, heaven never cancelled the assignment. The gifts and calling of God are without repentance. What God marked, He protects. What God ordains, He sustains. This is why you survived situations that should have destroyed you emotionally, spiritually, or mentally. This is why your story didn't end where others thought it would. Preservation followed you even when you were unaware of it. There were seasons when you didn't understand how you made it through at all. Seasons when simply surviving felt like a miracle. You may not have had answers, clarity, or direction, but you had breath. You had life. You had just enough strength to take one more step. That was not chance. That was divine preservation. God guarded you when you couldn't guard yourself. He redirected you when you were confused. He kept you when you were weak and restored you when you were empty. Your life has been a series of awakenings. Each season stripped away what didn't belong, revealing what was essential. You shed identities that were never truly yours. You released attachments that could not go where God was leading you. You outgrew people, places, and versions of yourself that were too small for your calling. Loss was painful, but it was necessary. God was aligning your life with His purpose, even when the alignment felt like breaking. There were moments when you resisted the process because it hurt. You wanted comfort when God was offering growth. You wanted familiarity when God was inviting transformation. But He knew what you were becoming required a different level of maturity. The calling on your life demands depth, and depth is formed through experience, not theory. God was training your heart to carry weight without becoming bitter. People may not understand your process because they cannot see your assignment. They judge your pace without knowing your path. They question your choices without understanding your calling. But God sees it clearly. He sees the end from the beginning. He is more concerned with your readiness than your speed. He would rather prepare you slowly than elevate you too early. Promotion without preparation destroys more lives than delay ever could. There were times when you felt hidden, as if your efforts went unnoticed and your obedience unrewarded. But hidden seasons are not wasted seasons. They are where roots grow deep. God was strengthening your foundation so that when elevation comes, you will not collapse under the weight of responsibility, influence, or expectation. What He is building in you now will sustain you later. You learned to hear God's voice in the quiet because noise was removed. You learned to depend on Him because other supports fell away. You learned discernment because you were hurt by misplaced trust. None of this was meaningless. God was shaping your spiritual awareness and sharpening your wisdom. He was teaching you how to move with Him rather than ahead of Him. There is a resilience in you now that was not there before. You bend, but you do not break. You feel deeply, but you are no longer destroyed by emotion. You face challenges with a steadiness that only comes from having survived storms. This resilience is evidence of the mark. God has been training you to stand firm when others fall. The opposition you faced did not cancel your calling, it confirmed it. The rejection you endured did not diminish your value, it revealed it. Gold is tested by fire, and so are those marked by God. What came against you could not remove the hand of God from your life. Instead, it strengthened your faith and clarified your purpose. Now, as you continue forward, you carry wisdom earned through experience, compassion shaped by pain, and faith refined through waiting. You may not have arrived at everything God promised yet, but you are far from where you began. The mark on your life is still active, still guiding, still protecting. What God has started in you, He is faithful to complete, and every season you endured is proof that His hand has never left you. Now you are entering a season of remembrance. God is reminding you who you are. The confusion that once clouded your mind is lifting. The fog is clearing, and clarity is beginning to replace uncertainty. Where fear once spoke the loudest, the voice of God is now rising with authority and peace. You are remembering truths you once buried while you were focused on survival. In difficult seasons, you learned how to endure, but now God is teaching you how to live with purpose again. The mark that was placed on you before birth is awakening, not as a distant memory, but as a living reality guiding your steps forward. You no longer need validation from people who cannot see what God placed inside you. For a long time, you may have looked outward for confirmation, hoping someone would recognize what you carried. But heaven already approved you. Your assignment is intact. Your calling is alive. Your time is coming. What God ordained cannot be cancelled by rejection, delay, or misunderstanding. Human opinions never had the authority to approve or deny what God established before you were born. This season is teaching you the difference between recognition and affirmation. Recognition comes from people, but affirmation comes from God. People may applaud you one day and question you the next, but God remains constant. He is not confused about your purpose. He is not uncertain about your future. He is steady, faithful, and intentional. As you grow in this understanding, insecurity begins to loosen its grip, and confidence rooted in God begins to take its place. Your desires are changing, and this shift may feel unfamiliar. Things that once excited you no longer satisfy you. Conversations that once entertained you now feel empty. Goals that once seemed important are losing their appeal. This is not loss. It is refinement. God is aligning your heart with your assignment. He is adjusting your appetite so you hunger for what truly matters. Distractions are being removed, not to punish you, but to protect you. God knows what lies ahead, and He is clearing your path so you can move forward with focus and clarity. You are learning to move with God rather than ahead of Him. In the past, impatience may have pushed you to rush decisions or force outcomes. But now, there is a growing sensitivity to His timing. You are discovering that obedience brings peace, even when it requires waiting. Trust is deepening as you realize that God's delays are often expressions of His care. He sees what you cannot see, and He knows when you are ready for what you are praying for. There is a deeper peace settling within you, a peace that does not depend on circumstances. Even if everything around you has not fully changed yet, your spirit knows something has shifted. This peace is not denial, it is assurance. It is the quiet confidence that God is at work, even when results are not immediately visible. You are learning to rest in His sovereignty, to release the need for control, and to walk in obedience rather than fear. Fear once shaped many of your decisions, convincing you to shrink, to delay, or to doubt yourself. But now, faith is beginning to lead. Faith does not remove challenges, but it changes how you face them. Instead of being overwhelmed by uncertainty, you are learning to trust God step by step. You are no longer paralyzed by the question of what if, because you know that God is already present in your tomorrow. You are not behind, you are not forgotten, you are not disqualified. These lies may have whispered to you in quiet moments, but they have no authority. You are exactly where God can prepare you best for what is next. Timing in God's kingdom is not measured by age, comparison, or human standards. It is measured by readiness of heart. Every season you endured was shaping something necessary for the next one. Every step you took, even the painful ones, are being woven into a greater story. Nothing was wasted. The disappointments taught you discernment. The delays taught you patience. The losses taught you dependence on God rather than people. Each experience added depth to your character and clarity to your calling. What once felt like detours are now becoming part of the pathway forward. If this message resonates with you, it is confirmation. God is speaking directly to the mark He placed inside you. The calling is stirring again, gently but persistently. The fire that once felt dim is reigniting, not as uncontrolled passion, but as steady purpose. You are remembering who you are in God, not through emotion alone, but through conviction. This is a season of alignment, not performance. God is not asking you to prove yourself. He is inviting you to trust Him. He is not rushing you, He is leading you. As you continue to say yes, even in small ways, clarity will increase and direction will become clearer. The same God who marked you before birth is faithful to complete what He started. Stay ready, not by striving, but by staying connected to God. Stay faithful, even in quiet obedience that no one else sees. Heaven has not forgotten you. The promise is still alive. The purpose is still intact. And the God who called you is walking with you into what comes next.